welcome to Copenhagen. Thanks for dropping in. Hope everybody is doing well. Today I want to talk about drills. Okay, so not that type of drill, this type of drill. So this is what I want to talk about today, just the basics of what drills are and the sort of things that you should look for before you start or while you're doing your diamond painting. Okay, so when you receive your diamond painting kit, you will receive drills. Now, drills are these little pieces of plastic that actually make up the picture. So they come in hundreds of different colours. I'll just skim through the ones that I dropped on the table at the beginning, just to show you. This is one pack for a small diamond painting, and it has all these different colours. Sometimes they come in strips like this, sometimes they come in individual resealable bags. It just depends on the company that you get them from. So I thought it would be easier to use pictures for this, so I'm not trying to focus on things that are pretty small. So this is some drills that I'm using on the current project that I'm working on. You can see there's quite a lot of this one colour. And these are square. So I'm only going to talk about the normal drills. So it's normally either square or round. There are exceptions, but these are the main, square or round. Excuse me. So these are square, and this is one square and one round side by side, just to let you see how different they look. So these are rounds. You can see they aren't smooth. They have little facets, little faces on them, or surfaces on them, so that when the light hits it from different angles, it reflects and it creates the little sort of glistening and shining, which gives the name to diamond painting, because they glitter like diamonds. Basically, that's the idea. So I did a little shaky video here, and what I did was I moved a light over them, and you can see the way that the light is. It's as if the lights are flashing on and off, but all that is just the light bouncing off the surfaces, and that's what creates this sparkle effect. So these are rounds. Now we go to squares. When you look at the drills up close with squares, you will notice that some look different from the others. We have these ones that have a square in the middle, and we have these ones that have a diamond shape in the middle. Now, the only reason for this is to help accentuate the shininess, because what happens is when the light hits these beside these reflect it differently from them. So it gives a more random sparkle. So when you're doing diamond painting, don't worry that you see some that look different. Just use them as you find them. The idea is that they just go in randomly. You can sometimes pick up two in a row or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just put the square in the square and everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't think that you've got something that's wrong. They're deliberately designed that way, so they give a better sparkle. It's not a uniform, it's more random, which works better. And I did the same thing with the light with these. This is just a picture, but you can see when the light hits them, some look like they're square and some are diamond shaped. And if I do, that was just to let you see them side by side. When I do the video, you'll see as the light comes over, I did it pretty slowly, and I did it even more slowly going back, but you can see how they shine differently. And then we'll go back again. I think I did this a bit slower, and it was really just to show you how you can see there's a square and a bit and a square and a diamond, and It just helps to create that sparkle. So the next thing is, square and round drills are not the same size. So if you get a canvas for square drills, you cannot use round drills on it, because as you can see, I put 6 square and 6 round, and the round is already nearly a drill further along. So if you tried to put round drills on a square canvas, you would not be able to line them up, and they would just end up totally out completely. So you have round drills, you have to use a canvas for round drills, and squares for squares. For people that want to know, the squares are 2.5 millimeters across, and the rounds are 2.8. So it's 0.3 of a millimeter, which doesn't sound much, but you can see already after 6 drills it's quite a bit. If you imagine that hundreds of drills, it's going to be a really big bit of a difference. So the next thing is the way that they sit together. Square drills sit really close together. This is just on a piece of paper. I didn't put them on glue, so I was just sort of guessing, trying to get them as close as I could. But you have to remember this is very close as well, because this is only 2.5 millimeters. So the gap is like a fraction of a millimeter. It looks a lot bigger than it really is. But the point of this is, you can see the round drills have a much bigger gap. And that can come into play if you've got a very detailed picture with a lot of colours and fine lines and things. They tend to work better with squares. But if you're talking about a large diamond painting, from a normal viewing distance, it really doesn't make a big difference. But if you put one that was complete round and one that was completed square of the same picture, you would notice the difference. You would notice that the square one is sharper. But nobody does two the same and puts them side by side. If you had one in round and looked at it from a normal viewing distance, it looks absolutely fine. You don't notice these little gaps because on the rounds, the background of the drill is the same colour as the drill. So it's not white. You don't have all these white dots everywhere. Each circle is coloured according to the colour of the drill, so it blends in. So that's why you don't see it. Square drills, not as much. The colours on the canvas can actually be a completely different colour because the square covers the whole thing. Sometimes the colours are different because maybe you have 3 shades of green, and rather than putting 3 shades of green on the canvas, they might have a shade of green, yellow and red. It just makes it a lot easier for you to see them when you're actually doing the diamond painting. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they are totally different. So if you're looking at it and thinking, hang on a minute, these drills are yellow and the place that I'm meant to put it is red, it doesn't matter. It's the round ones that normally the background is the same colour as the drill. Square drills, doesn't matter because the gaps are tiny and you won't see the colour through them. So a lot of people don't like squares, and part of the reason is they are more fiddly to line up, and because there is virtually no gap, it can be quite hard to get them to sit together. So when you're using square drills, look for tabs like this little bit that sticks out. If you use that and you try and put the next square in beside it, that little tab will push that drill over a bit, which starts to knock everything out of line. If the tab happened to be up the way, it would start pushing things out of line up the way. Sometimes you might actually get a drill that's maybe got 2 or 3 tabs and it pushes drills out all over the place. Once that starts happening, things start going out of line. So when you're using the drills and putting them down, just check that the edges are flat. They don't have any little bits sticking out. If they're concave slightly, it doesn't really matter. You can use them, you will not see it from 2 feet away. This is the thing that you have to remember when you're working on a diamond painting. You are much closer than anybody would be normally viewing it. It's like an oil painting. If you go up close to an oil painting, it has all the brush strokes and things, and if you go up and look really close, you can see how things are made up. The shapes are made up and every tiny little bit, but if you step back to a normal distance, it looks perfect. So it's a bit like that with diamond painting. Don't get too obsessed being up really close. If you think it doesn't look right, the best thing to do is take 2 or 3 steps back and look at it again, because all these little imperfections will just disappear. The human eye is not that good. It won't pick up these little differences. So that's the main thing, especially with squares. Look for little tabs. If you have a little tab, don't use it. You will always have, or you should always have, extra drills. They haven't counted the drills to exactly the number you need. They normally add extra to allow for this sort of thing, for these rejects. So what you could do is put them in a little tray or a plate if you don't have a spare tray, and just keep them to the side and see how things go with the colour. If you find that you are starting to run low in the colour, you can try, there's various things that people have tried. I've tried using a nail file, holding the drill with a pair of tweezers, but it is very difficult to hold it tight enough. Just to run a nail file, all it needs is just one swipe over it and it'll take it off. I've heard of people using nail clippers. The hard part is holding the drill while you try and take that bit off. It can be done, but you need to be very patient. Hopefully you don't need to do it. As I said, normally you have extras, and when you finish you have extra drills. That's normal. It's unusual to run out. It does happen sometimes, but the vast majority of people end up with extra drills at the end. So don't worry too much about it. The main thing is don't use them as is. If they're like that, don't put them in your picture, because it will start to knock everything out and you're really going to struggle. It can turn into a major problem if you keep putting them in. It pushes the drills all out of line, and it is very, very irritating. And for that reason, a lot of people prefer the round drills. So this is a row of sort of decent squares. These are some of the rejects that I pulled out from different projects, and you can see most of the time it's one tab. It all seems to be one edge. So these are the 6 drills together. These are 6 bad ones together, and you can see we're almost a drill over. So there's no way that you would fit these in the grid on the canvas. So don't even try. You'll just get really frustrated and it'll put you off square drills for life. These ones are really bad. A lot of overflow on them. But the normal problem is this little tab, and normally it is like this. It's just that little bit. So just check before you put them down that the edges are all straight. It can happen with rounds. It's very, very unusual though. Normally rounds are perfectly round. You sometimes get a little tab, like just a tiny tab, like that. But because they're round, what you can do is you can turn them so the tab goes in the gap. So if you remember, big gap. So if you have a little piece that sticks out slightly, you can just turn the drill so that little piece sits in the gap. Helps to fill in the colour. So it's no problem really. So that is it really. I just wanted to talk about round and square, and the problems, and why when you're looking in groups, if you're totally new and you don't have a diamond painting yet, you will see in diamond painting groups people saying I hate squares, or people saying I'll never try squares, or I've seen people say I've just got my first square canvas and I'm scared. The thing to remember is this is a hobby. It's meant to be relaxation. You're meant to be relaxing and enjoying it. So the thing is, just check for these tabs. That's the big problem with squares, the tabs. That little tab can cause so many problems. If you make sure that your drills are square and you take your time and use the checkerboard technique. I have done a video about it a long time ago, but I'll fire it up here. If you don't know what checkerboard is, if you use the checkerboard technique, it really does help you to keep your drills straight. I use it all the time, and I use it for rounds as well. I'm in the habit of using it, and I just use it without thinking. It really does help to keep everything nice and straight. So as I said, the link was back there. Have a look if you don't know what checkerboard is, and hopefully it shows exactly how it works and why it works and why it keeps things straight. So that's pretty much it. That's just the basics. It's square and round drills and what to look for when you are using them. So that's it, round and square drills. Obviously this was intended for the absolute beginner who may not know even what a drill is, but I thought it was important to mention the problems that you can find, and hopefully it's helped alleviate some worry of the people who have never tried a square drill diamond painting. When I'm choosing a diamond painting, it's the picture is obviously the first thing. If I like the picture, I'll go for it. If it's round or square, it doesn't really matter to me. If I do have the choice, I will go for square, because I like the fact that they are tighter together, so they give slightly more detail. But as I said, from a normal viewing distance, you can't really tell the difference. It's just one of these things that people seem to get in their head that square drills are really hard and panic if they get one. I was actually the opposite. When I started, before I'd actually got a diamond painting, I was watching YouTube videos, I was reading up in groups and things, and I kept hearing that square drills, get square drills if you want detail, and you have a lot of detail in your picture and you want it to be clear, get square drills. So I was always reading square drills are better, square drills are better. So eventually I ordered one. It was 60 by 60 square drills, and I think every diamond painting after that for a long time was square, because I just kept thinking squarer, sharper, better, more detailed, that's what I want. Then I accidentally bought one with round drills. Didn't pay attention, liked it, bought it. It turned up, I opened it, and it was round drills, and I thought, the detail isn't going to be as good. I wish I hadn't bought it, but I did it, and there was absolutely no problem with it at all. It was a big one, so the larger they are, it doesn't matter if it's round or square, the larger they are, the better they're going to look. That's just how it is, because you've got more dots in the picture, so it's a better quality picture. The smaller the picture, the less detail, the less sharp, even with square. So the thing to remember is that the size and the detail of the picture are more important than whether it's square or round. Round drills are quicker, they're easier to place because they're a circle, you don't have to turn them and get them lined up. They are less likely to have little tabs on them. Even if they do, you can turn that little tab into the gap and still use the drill. So they go faster, and that's just how it is. And some people prefer that. They want to get the diamond painting done quickly or relatively quickly, and they don't want to mess about with square drills, having to line them up, and then they start to push each other out of line because they're so tight together, and some people just don't want that. So they'll go for round, and some people prefer the more detail from the square and maybe have a bit more patience. I really don't mind a single place. I place every single drill one at a time. I don't use multi-placers, and I enjoy doing it. I listen to music while I'm doing them, and it's a way of relaxing for me. It's not a race. It's a way to relax. It's a hobby, as I said. You should be enjoying it. Don't get yourself all stressed about it. Just take your time and everything will be okay. So that's it for today. I hope you found it interesting, and if you did and want to catch more about diamond painting, unbaggings, unboxings, comparisons, accessories, anything to do with diamond painting, I will be doing more short videos dedicated to people who are at the very beginning, maybe not even got a diamond painting yet, but just thinking about it. I'm planning to do short videos, step by step. So today was drills. Hopefully it made sense and you learned something if you're new. And that's it. So if you want to see what I'm working on at the moment, I just finished this one. This is a custom, my own design called the Hoverfly. I am now working on Tivoli at Halloween, which actually has one more colour than this one. This has 8 to 9 colours. Tivoli at Halloween has 90. So if you want to see the progress of that, just follow me on Instagram at Diamond Painting Gym, and every Wednesday I will post an update picture so you can see the picture build up gradually over the weeks. It does take quite a bit of time. So if you're interested, catch me on Instagram. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. In the meantime, take care, be safe, and wash your hands.